Please welcome back to the stage the host of today's thrilling LGBT Biz Pitch competition, Justin Nelson.
Who is ready to give away some cash and prizes to the tune of $50,000 for today's winner? Good, that sounds good. Just like everything else at NGLCC, Biz Pitch keeps getting bigger and better each and every year. And I've got some exciting surprises that were just texted to me at the table before I came up here. I'll save those for later. But as you know, this is our own version of Shark Tank, and the dynamic is fast-paced. In this fast-paced pitch event, only one company will emerge as the ultimate winner with game-changing cash prizes and coaching. But wait, that's not true this year. Every one of our pitch contestants is walking away with something, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get closer to the end. The stakes this year are much higher than ever. The audience will play a crucial role in helping select this year's winner. So when the time is right, you're going to take out your app, and you're going to cast a vote, and we're going to incorporate that into the judges' deliberation. If you reach a different decision than the judges, we have something that we're going to give to that contestant. We had over 10,000 votes that were cast on social media to help whittle down to our top 15 and then the final 4. So over the last few weeks, corporate mentors have advised and honed the pitches that you're about to see. But what's an LGBT event without a little drama? So here are the official LGBT Biz Pitch rules. Each competing company will get exactly 5 minutes for their pitch to convince the judges that their LGBT-owned business deserves to be crowned this year's Biz Pitch winner and take home the $50,000 in cash and prizes. At the 30 seconds, the countdown clock behind me will appear and start to flash when there are 10 seconds remaining. You know that time has run out when this happens. The presenter will be cut off at that time, and those of you that have been in a tense conversation with me know that I don't mind cutting you off when I have to. After the 5-minute presentations, our judges will have 5 minutes for Q&A with the presenting company to ask any additional information they may need. At the end of the 5 minutes, I'll ask the judges, is there a final question? They will say either yes or no, and from there, we'll move on to the next contestant. During the judging deliberation period, you'll have a chance to vote, as I mentioned earlier. And should you all pick a different winner than the judges, the audience favorite will receive tickets to the national dinner, and all competitors will receive a business advisory session from Gangels. All right, friends, let's bring up our 3 brilliant judges for today's competition.
Annual NGLCC LGBT Biz Pitch competition judges are David Beatty, as entrepreneur, angel investor, and managing director for Gangels, LLC, the first investment syndicate by and for the LGBT community. David is also chairman of Empire Messaging Incorporated, which provides enterprise messaging solutions to corporate clients. David has co-founded 3 other tech-enabled companies with successful exits and is a very active supporter of and mentor to the early stage ecosystem in New York. He is a frequent speaker and panelist on the topics of early stage fundraising and seed investing. Now, please welcome David Beatty. Chance Mitchell. As co-founder and CEO of NGLCC, he directs NGLCC operations, cultivating new partnerships and opportunities. As a former Top 100 Gay Success Stories by Out Magazine, as well as being honored with Justin Nelson as one of the Out 100 in 2017. His entrepreneurial spirit, coupled with strong business and technology skills, are an integral component of his leadership. Chance directs NGLCC operations to expand equity for the LGBT community and providing activism through economics. Now, please welcome Chance Mitchell. Rose Hatcher, a renowned expert in supplier diversity and inclusion. After nearly 20 years leading supplier initiatives at Aetna, Rose is now helping create a state-of-the-art supplier diversity program at Viacom, one of the world's most innovative media and communications companies. She's been a mentor and coach to some of the most successful suppliers in our network and brings her expertise to the NGLCC stage today. Please welcome Rose Hatcher.
Okay, judges, before we get started, one quick question. David, Gangels has invested over $10 million in LGBT-owned and run companies. What is it that you're looking for from these four contestants?
Hi, thank you for having me. It's great to be back. Gangels members have actually invested in over 75 venture-backed companies with LGBT leadership. And I'm looking for the same as every one of those companies, and that is entrepreneurs who are building sustainable, strong businesses that we can partner with and use our network, our knowledge, and our cash to get a strong return on our investment, increase their likelihood of success. That's what I'm looking for.
Now, backstage you said, would it be all right if you said companies that will make me money?
That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we're looking to get a strong return on our investment.
I'm bringing some of that drama here.
That was the last bit.
All right. Rose.
That's what, at the end of the day, if we're not looking to make money, then we're going to go bust, and we're all in business.
Thank you. Rose, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for some, I know the energy is going to come, so I think what I'm looking for more so is the innovation. So what's going to come that's different, that we haven't seen before, that we can take back to our organizations and look forward to taking us into the future.
And you've done a lot with the NGLCC and Y Supplier Superstar.
Yes. So awesome pitches from the NGLCC New York chapter. We hosted a Superstar back in November, couldn't decide who was gonna win, so everybody won. And so everybody didn't get a car, but everybody got power lunches and mentoring, and some of the products you'll see around today, and you'll hear more this afternoon about some of the relationships that came out of those actual events that we had last year.
Rose will be a part of our first Power of the Network story during our lunch. Thank you. Chance, what are you looking for?
So first of all, I'll just take a moment to welcome all of you to Tampa. I think this morning was absolutely remarkable. It's something that really, I think, hit home with me, just the tributes, the poetry, remembering such remarkable people, and it reminds me of why we do what we do. And this is obviously a wonderful celebration. We want to empower entrepreneurs. And I think what I'm really looking for today, I'm going to try to look through it a little bit different than just a purely investment lens. And what I'm really looking for is that passion and that determination. Because as many of you have heard probably throughout your careers and your entrepreneurship, you could look at spreadsheets all day and cash flow statements, but at the end of the day, if the entrepreneur doesn't have the passion to make success happen, then it's going nowhere. So I'm going to try to take a little bit of a different tack, but yeah, looking forward to it. And everyone, welcome to Tampa.
All right. Without further ado, let's get this competition underway. Bring out brand pride.
Pride is amazing. What happened on the night of June 28th, 1969, a fight for the right to live openly and without fear, has become one of the biggest displays of love and acceptance in the world. My name is Elise Lindborg. I'm the CEO of Brand Pride, and this is my right-hand unicorn, Jeremy Favors. And we are here to introduce to you our company, which is lesbian-owned, LGBT certified, award-winning, that brings premium marketing experience, merchandise, and event solutions.
So for many of us, Pride is a day of celebration, reflection, and joy. But for many corporations, Pride is the gateway to the $917 billion buying power our community holds. This year, over 1,000 Pride parades happened across the globe. And we've all seen corporate participation rise over the years, which is actually really great. However, very few spend intentionally with our community. In fact, in a recent survey of over 1,000 corporate buyers, we have found that less than 10% of Fortune 500 companies actually spend intentionally with the LGBTQ community.
Less than 10%. Pride is the one time during the year that companies have the opportunity to use LGBT vendors for Pride. So our question is, why is the profit from Pride going to non-LGBTQ businesses? In a world where rainbow washing is a big concern, it only benefits companies to use LGBT companies for Pride. If all of the corporate sponsors of the NGLCC were to spend with us for Pride in 2020, we would see an annual spend of $4 million. So don't just slap a rainbow on something and call it good. Spend intentionally.
And Brand Pride makes it easy to do just that. With over 65 years of combined experience, we manage, protect, and enhance your brand identity, all the while connecting and utilizing other LGBTQ and minority-owned businesses. Brand Pride offers premium promotional marketing solutions, customer service excellence, supply chain management, custom online company stores, fulfillment and distribution centers, graphic design services, and even more custom solutions if necessary. The best part is we answer all your Pride solutions with one point of contact, making it super easy for your company to spend intentionally with our company and use Brand Pride as the #1 Pride supplier.
And our growth over the last 2 years proves our business is viable. In 2018, we assisted 7 Fortune 500 companies with Pride. In 2019, this year, we brought on another 26 Fortune 500 companies. And in 2020, we're looking to help 45 Fortune 500 companies with Pride. And although Pride is our #1 initiative, it is also our Trojan unicorn to expand our services within those companies. For instance, in 2014, one of our clients here in this room spent $300 on Pride. In 2018, that company now spends over $280,000 with us. The best part is, very little of that is Pride. So our services speak for themselves. Before they know it, we have infiltrated their entire company, and we have become one of their preferred promotional merchandising vendors.
So the clock's ticking down, and we want to thank you all for your time, and we want to thank the NGLCC for this great opportunity. But before we leave, we want to ask you this. Is your company spending intentionally for Pride? If not, why not?
Brand Pride is the solution for your company to be truly economically inclusive of the LGBT community. Yes, Queen!
Before we go to the judges, I have one question. Who are you and what did you do with Elise?
This is my right-hand unicorn, Jeremy.
You were wonderful, but I don't think I've ever seen you so well behaved, Elise.
I know.
Judges, what questions do we have?
Well, my first is always in the back of my mind. How do I make money as an investor in your company?
I didn't understand a word you just said.
It's my beautiful, I've kissed the Blarney Stone, do you know that? I'm as an investor.
Oh, an investor, yes.
What is going on in the back of my head always is how, if I was to invest $50,000 in your company, which is how I see this, how am I going to get a return on my investment?
How is he going to get a return on his investment? Well, that's a good question. Because of the growth that we've seen, we're not just going after the Fortune 500 companies. We're also I just recently marched in the New York City Pride Parade, taking pictures. There were 5 million people there. All of them had something rainbow on. They had a rainbow hat, they had a rainbow shirt, they had a rainbow bracelet. I'm gonna sell all that stuff to them. So I need an investment so we can come up with our line of PPP, proprietary Pride products. And we're gonna sell them in an Amazon-like atmosphere. So that's where you get your return on investment.
Thank you.
All right, great presentation, thank you so much. I just have a follow-up to David, and I think the point he's getting to is one of the determinations we have to make is if we're giving someone $25,000, what are you doing with it? So I think one question would be, are you actually raising more money to expand your operation? How many employees do you have currently sort of helping with the sales channels? Mm-hmm. And if we give you $25,000, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to burn through it quickly? Is it to hire someone? What does that look like? And so I think with David's question, you know, are you raising $500,000 overall to help expand, or are you looking for $25,000 to do something else?
Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Disneyland.
Perfect.
Since people are not finding LGBT vendors for Pride, we need help with marketing. We need funding for marketing. We also want to update our website, and we need money to start our line of PPP, proprietary Pride products.
As far as your question to staff, we have 6 people on staff right now. We're a small but mighty team. And with the growth that we do see, we actually can realize with the products and the services that we already support as far as our programs, that we will be adding 1 more person at the end of this year, and that person will be able to help with the growth of the 10 or so companies that we're expecting to bring on next year. Okay,
and then just one last question. How have you gone from 7 to 26 to 45 companies? How have you achieved that? Has it been networking at amazing events like this, perhaps,
yes.
Or is it online? I mean, how are you acquiring new customers?
It's calling politely persistent. Calling people, meeting people at the NGLCC is where we get a lot of our customers.
Woo!
Yes.
We did launch Brand Pride at the Out and Equal conference last year, and that was a big boost to our client intel, or bringing on
oh yeah,
clients.
it was amazing.
It was great. So yes, very much the organizations like this and Out and Equal that's how we network.
Okay.
So question I have is around, the Pride. You mentioned all of the products that you saw people wearing. So for an entertainment company, what might you do differently that would help me identify Brand Pride as a differentiator in the market?
Providing you with innovative solutions that aren't the everyday items that you see in our industry. I am so tired of the rainbow stuff that you see that everyone else has. So with our customers, like with Starbucks or T-Mobile, we came up with custom-made products that no one else has seen. And the cool part about it is we used a supplier, an internationally NGLCC certified supplier in China, a lesbian, to source all those products for us.
Are you saying my socks aren't unique?
Hey,
those are EY socks.
I got the same ones right there.
Judges, is there a final question? The Trojan unicorn should get in production ASAP. If there's a manufacturer in the audience, get with Elise after this. Thank you all very much, Brand Pride. Give them a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I introduce our next contestant, I just want to say we're so pleased to again have the Canadian LGBT Chamber of Commerce and the Government of Canada holding their 2nd annual LGBT trade mission here at this conference. And that's relevant because our next contestant is an international supplier. Bring up Growing Greener.
Good morning. My name's Connie Stacy. I'm the president and founder of Growing Greener Innovations and inventor of the Grängen Power System. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit more specifically about a component within the Grängen Power System called the Grängen Smart Switch. And it specifically addresses smart city problems. So let's talk about the problem. The problem right now is that we don't have enough power. We have grid transformers going down and blackouts like Manhattan. We have extreme weather and infrastructure wiped out completely like Puerto Rico. We have high costs for time of use. And this problem actually gets worse as we get into electric vehicles and advanced manufacturing. Enter the miracle solution. This is the one text slide, so brace yourself. It is an intelligent automatic transfer switching system paired with energy storage batteries. And that allows us to do management of time of use, peak shaving, voltage optimization, and backup power. There, you got through it, okay? You're good. Let me explain that to you in a little bit more plain English. At its core, the switch takes in energy from multiple sources. So that might be the grid, it might be solar, it could be diesel, it could be any combination, it could be your bicycle. And then it decides what is the optimum place to take that energy at what time in order to be efficient and save money. So let me explain a little bit about time of use. If anybody is in an area where this is the fee structure, you pay a really low fee overnight, and then you pay a much higher fee at dinner time. So simply by storing energy that was generated at that low time and using it from the batteries at that peak time, we typically can save a customer anywhere from 25 to 35%. Now, I also mentioned a fancy term called peak shaving. If you're in the commercial or industrial space, this is going to mean a lot to you. The fees, when you get really high in your power demand, can be as much as a 900% increase. We're a unique solution, so we recently received our patent for modular energy storage systems. It is a behind-the-fence solution, so for a typical household, that's a 15 to 30-minute setup tops, little to no paperwork, and it's modular, so you can start small and grow as you need. We have no direct competitors because we are patented. It's a unique system. Think batteries meet Lego. We do have some indirect competitors, and they're big companies, unquestionable, Siemens, Schneider Electric, Tesla, and they're excellent companies. But this is a really big space, and our ability to manufacture quickly with that Lego-style system allows us to be cheaper and faster. So let's talk about the market for a second. It's expected to grow 57% in electrical demand over the next 30 years. That's almost 14,000 terawatts, which means nothing to you. So let me tell you what it means in real English, which is that if you were to buy lead-acid batteries from the hardware store, you would need that gigantic, ridiculous number to get, I don't even know what comes after a trillion. That's that big. It's $1 gazillion. It's a big market. And I say that only to say that the size of this market cannot be overstated. Since we first announced the Smart Switch 8 weeks ago at the Inventors Tech Conference, and we won the Building Smarter Cities pitch competition, we have had requests for paid pilots in excess of 5 million. It's higher than that now. I have new requests every day. We have a winning team with awesome people, And we really hope that you'll consider us for the prize.
Judges, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for saving the world. So my question is, in your pitch, I may have missed it, I just want to make sure. So you're marketing also to corporates as well as individual households?
Yeah, so I mean, energy is an interesting sector because there's no one who doesn't need it. So our expansion path is more towards the corporates right now. But we do have demand in every sector. So the biggest need right now is on that peak shaving side. So for those groups, that's probably where we're going to be doing the most work to begin with, but it's scalable to any size.
Thank you.
You don't want me to start dancing. You want to get in here with questions.
I don't know where to start.
The narwhal.
Okay,
Start with the narwhal.
The
Unicorn of the
narwhal
sea.
is great. I'm into good T-shirts. I mean,
Yes.
here we go. So it's not clear to me if this is a consumer type of product or if this is an industrial type of product that you're
So
selling.
it actually it goes into both realms. So when we install in big applications, that's where we would have the one occasion where an electrician comes in and sets it up for an industrial company. But once it's installed, you can add and remove batteries at will because it's Lego. So if you start with something small and say, oh my gosh, our demands has gone way up, we need a bigger system, I don't come back. You go to the hardware store or you go to Home Depot and you buy extra batteries and you put them on the rack and that's it.
Okay. And so the other question I have is, does this exist today?
Yes.
So where does it exist? How does it exist? How much does it cost you to get to it exist? And how do you actually make money?
Okay, so that's a lot of questions in one. I'll try and be quick.
And I'm glad you actually understood them.
I'll do it like rap style. Basically, so we've already commercialized some of the smallest units. So like the smallest bricks are as small as this. These are already commercially available, as well as kind of a mid-sized brick that we use in emergency aid, for example, where you go and help where there's been a tsunami or an emergency floods. The bigger pieces are still coming, so we've really nailed our tech pretty good. The paid pilots is where we are now with the bigger stuff. So all the brain work behind the scenes is all set up. And now we want to work with partners where we can get the data back before we go to full production. So small one's done, big one's coming, make money everywhere.
Small one's done. How many have you sold and for how much?
So we started this past fall. We have sold somewhere around $200,000, I think, in USD. Our big thing is the switch. That's where the demand is. We'd really like to see the small ones move more, but we have found that the demand on the market side for the industrial solution is just so strong that we have kind of pivoted a little bit. So we haven't been pushing the small units as much. We've been focusing more on that industrial side.
Great. You have obviously a patent. It's U.S. domestic, or you have international patent protection as well?
Yeah, we filed internationally. It was first registered here, and this one was the first one approved.
Okay. And then what's your distribution geography? Like, is there a particular area you're focusing on, or?
So right now, the demand or the requests are coming in from everywhere, which makes it challenging because people are like, you got to target, you got to focus. I'm like, yeah, but which? I love you all. What we would really like to do is to look for distribution partners who can help us bring that out to the market. So right now, we're primarily focusing down U.S. through Mexico into the northern part of South America. So we have companies carrying the product in places like Peru. We have a Brazilian utility who's very keen to do pilots and bring it into the residential sector. We have appear to have won the largest hotel chain in Mexico from Tesla. Yes, you know. So we're kind of continuing down that sector because we think it'll be the easiest to support for the first while.
And where's the product manufactured?
Sorry?
Where's the product manufactured?
So our original manufacturing was overseas. We're moving everything into Canada now and going fully robotics. I firmly believe that with advancing manufacturing, places that have low cost and stable electricity are actually the future of manufacturing. And that makes where we are a rather fabulous place, maybe slightly less coastal, sorry, Tampa. But we'll be moving everything to Canada and then bringing down through here. So with it being a fully roboticized production line, we can repeat it more quickly.
And last question, what do your margins look like?
My margins?
Your margins, yeah.
You want me to say that in front of customers?
Well, you don't.
I'll tell you after.
Okay,
they're
perfect.
good.
Yeah, fair enough. Very good.
I want to see a dance.
Growing greener. Thank you, thank you. Up next, please welcome LUMENOMICS.
The core focus at LUMENOMICS is natural light. We believe we can change the world one space at a time. LUMENOMICS' mission is to maximize the use of natural light. We began as a window covering company and have since expanded into a full-service lighting design and consultation company. We approach lighting design from a different perspective. That's what we're about at LUMENOMICS.
My name is Marty Hoffer, and I love daylight. I grew up in the construction industry, in my dad's window covering business. But my love of daylight didn't start until I worked on a project for Grange Insurance. It was the largest project in the state of Ohio in 2009, and the window coverings were connected to sensors that were connected to the electric lighting. And for the first time in my life, I was excited about construction, about lighting, and about natural light. I learned that this owner chose this level of sustainability or green building, and that this level of interconnectivity of natural light and electric light was required in places out west. You have never seen a lesbian pack so fast. Well, maybe some of you have. And so I moved west, I started LUMENOMICS, and my love affair with the construction industry and how we use light in the spaces we build began. At LUMENOMICS, we light spaces with sunlight. This is not a loose concept, it is measurable. Natural light is the #1 office perk, driving down the cost of turnover, which can be 125% of an employee's annual wage, sometimes higher for senior level employees. Workers' performance and productivity increased by 25%, by students' test scores and reading comprehension increased by up to 26%. Retail sales increased 19 times the cost of energy savings. And regardless of the cost of energy, performance illumination systems that start with natural light reduce the use of electricity for lighting by up to 60% and reduce the use of electricity for heating and cooling by up to 10%, sometimes 20%. It's safe to say that natural light is good business that serves us all. LUMENOMICS' target market understands this and is redesigning their spaces to include more natural light from the tops and sides of buildings. This saves owners money and improves the health and wellness of people. LUMENOMICS is scalable because owners are choosing natural light and the Building Energy Code is requiring more daylight. This is creating a demand for companies like LUMENOMICS that understand electric light and natural light. And after 10 years, LUMENOMICS has a repeatable process, which we call our LU Roadmap. This map helps owners and design and construction professionals maintain budgets and meet green building standards and codes, from design through installation, service, and ownership. It's filled with proven technologies like Solitube, Sun or Shade, Signify, Philips, Lutron, and Be Motorized. It's teamed with a group of talented individuals that have delivered thousands and thousands of projects from New York City to Los Angeles and Tampa to Seattle for Chase, CBRE, JLL, AECOM, Nationwide, and Turner, to name a few. But LUMENOMICS and everyone in the construction industry has a big problem: finding people. But after 10 years at LUMENOMICS and 35 years in the construction industry, I know how to recruit talented people. It starts by including individuals that have not been part of the construction industry and are often overlooked, including our youth, and investing in education for these same people. If LUMENOMICS is selected as the Biz Pitch winner, we will recruit the LGBTQ+, minorities, and the resilient LGBTQ youth. I started in this business as a teenager, and so can they. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Question is, who are your competitors in this space, and how do you intend to, differentiate from them?
That's an excellent question. LUMENOMICS is a designer, distributor, manufacturer, installer, and commercial integrator. So that absolutely means we have a lot of competition. But the problem in the industry is owners are buying systems, and they need a single point of contact that can help them through the whole process. And not just the day you turn it over, but the day that you own it and have to service it. And so our competition is many. It's individuals certainly that have the same brands that we do, but most of them are siloed in one role and haven't taken the ownership to make sure that that system operates as good on day one as it does on, say, day 300.
So, being from Ireland, where the sun doesn't shine very often, I'm curious, does your system work in places where the sun doesn't shine very often?
Well, we have to remember that just because we don't have direct sunlight, that diffuse light, like we have in Seattle, is actually enough illumination to bring light from the tops of the buildings and from the sides.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm not clear of is actually what is your product and service or service? Is it a kind of a system that is unique, that you have unique knowledge of how to implement, and is it only for new construction?
That is a great question. Our product includes tubular daylighting devices, motorized window shades or exterior Venetian blinds, lighting controls, electric light fixtures, and a single user interface for the occupant to operate their space, or sometimes there's a building management system or energy management schedule that's operating all of those pieces and parts as one system. And so we take all of those pieces and parts and put them together so that occupants have a single user interface and not a switch for blinds and a switch for lights and a switch for temperature, and make it easier for them to operate and make sure that the owner has a single point of contact day 1 and day 300.
So what will you do with the 25 grand?
If we're awarded the 25 grand, we're going to apply that to recruiting at least 3 individuals out of the gate for assistant project manager and 2 project coordinators.
And you mentioned CBRE, they're an NGLCC corporate partner. Do you have a recurring relationship with them, or are those one-off type of engagements?
We have a master agreement with CBRE,
Okay.
and we're a preferred supplier for Chase to serve with CBRE with that account.
Okay, great. And I'm not sure, just a sidebar tip, if you've talked with Elizabeth Birch at all, she's at CBRE in Washington now. As you know, Elizabeth used to run the Human Rights Campaign, and she actually has something that she created called the Smart Audit, which is coming into companies and helping them evaluate things like lighting, where employees are sitting, those type of things. So just as a potential resource for you, perhaps somebody we can connect you with and see if there can get some traction there.
That would be fantastic.
Sure.
We would welcome the opportunity.
So one of the things I always look for is scalability, because that allows a company to accelerate rapidly and therefore increase the likelihood that I'm going to make more money from the return on my investment. Because that's what I'm after.
Yes.
When I look at your business, I'm concerned that to get more business, I'm going to consistently need more people as opposed to just being able to replicate the same product or system that I have. Am I missing something? Are you like really a consulting service provider company, or do you actually have IP and products and systems that you can let other people buy and sell, and you make money doing that?
So one product that we do manufacture is Sun or Shade. It's a motorized window covering, and so that is a part of the system. And because we are the manufacturer and we're selling that direct, we have additional margins that we can reinvest back into the company to maintain the growth and to certainly add people as project managers. But the CRM systems today and project management systems, we manage 150 projects a month easily with 7 people.
Okay, thank you.
Judges, any final questions?
Well, you're very brave to wear a Dodgers t-shirt.
Okay, yes. That's a great story. 10 seconds is I wear Jackie Robinson on my back and Branch Rickey's Dodgers organization on my heart because when I went on a journey to figure out what I really wanted to do with LUMENOMICS, I was inspired by Jackie's courage not to fight back and Branch Rickey's courage to fight back. And so that's why I wear this on big days.
Give it up for LUMENOMICS. Thanks for your pitch. And last but not least, our 4th and final contestant, welcome Redimo.
Sharks of NGLCC, my name is Dan Owens, and I am the founder and CEO of Redimo. We're a gender-fluid brand house and consulting agency.
Hi, my name is Jordy, and I work with Redimo as a designer as well as a consultant.
Let's start with some problems. So customers are seeking a gender-neutral shopping experience, and we're being met with next to nothing. And ourselves, as well as our allies, really want to support marginalized small businesses. We want to shop queer, trans, POC, and disabled-owned businesses.
And as marginalized small business owners, we're tasked with figuring out how or where to set up a shop, how to access an audience as a new company, as well as where are the resources coming from to create a campaign that is truly reflective of our values.
And major brands want campaigns that are race, gender, size, and ability inclusive, as well as to create an inclusive company culture, but not sure where to start.
Now, when you take a look at our website, you can shop by brand. Click directly on my brand, Indigo Magic, and see my earrings posed on genderqueer, non-binary babes, as well as other brands that are just the same way.
These are 3 of our brands, woman of color, sex worker, and non-binary owned, who sell primarily on Depop, Etsy, and Instagram. Virtually no link between them. When onboarding a brand, we get 3 to 5 of their products and dress each individual item on a different body type, gender presentation, and skin tone, making for a truly first-of-its-kind, gender-fluid, and inclusive shopping experience.
We are done accepting excuses from brands, products, companies that continue to prioritize thin, white, able-bodied, gender-boring individuals. It's 2019.
So we've used our proof of concept as a pivot to our consulting agency. At Redimo, we have a database of over 30 consultants, all with different backgrounds, experiences, and different intersecting identities.
So whether you're trying to really create a truly inclusive, diverse campaign, develop a product for different bodies or folks with disabilities, or develop a non-binary character for your television show, our job is to curate consultants that are able to create a program specific to your needs.
Now, do brands really need to take this into consideration? Well, the disability community alone has an $8 trillion disposable income, and that's one community we've mentioned here today. And when asked, how would it feel to you if more brands offered a gender-neutral shopping experience, 31% of people said it would change my life. For the numbers people, the important thing to remember here is 87% of people want change, which we know, right? Because mainstream brands have been doing this for the last couple of years. Some of the biggest names in fast fashion, Zara, H&M, Forever 21, have created campaigns that are gender neutral, but are anything but gender neutral.
These are not gender neutral. This is queer culture appropriated through a hetero, cisgendered lens. What we're really looking for are campaigns styled by, modeled by, creative directed by gender neutral, gender non-conforming creatives to make a truly inclusive, race and size diverse campaign.
What we want you to know is brands don't need to make gender neutral clothing.
They just need to put gender neutral people in their clothes.
So this long list of problems, well, we have one solution for you. Redeemo. Let's talk about money real quick. In our first year, I really started this as a hobby to kind of show out my anger and prove that you could be inclusive pretty easily. Well, it worked. We did $6,000 in sales and broke even, which for a fashion company is nearly unheard of in its first year. Our second year, we focused on curating brands. We went from 4 to 16 brands and turned a profit that year, as well as got a grant for $8,000 that allowed us to hire 23 marginalized creators to work on our marketing campaign. This year, with our pivot to consulting, we're on track to do over $140,000, bring in $33,000 in profit, and next year, with $50,000 from the NGLCC and help from Chatterblast, we will quadruple our profit, and that's with everyone getting paid what they're truly valued and worth. At Redeemo, we're about representation and the redistribution of wealth into our communities. Even having the two of us on this stage is an act of revolution. Help us take that further. Thank you.
My first question is, where do I get the earrings?
Redeemo.la. Both these and this one.
So the slide flashed really fast with sort of the margins, but it looked like the biggest portion of your business and your growth is coming from the consulting side.
Yes.
How are you engaging with customers, and is it major corporations, is it other brands like H&M and some of the others that you mentioned, or do you view those as competitors?
I don't view them as competitors at all. Would love to go into any of those brands. My day job / full-time gig is talent management. So I have a lot of relationships with big brands that are now coming to me, not only because all of the influencers I work with are marginalized creators, and they want to create these marketing campaigns. It's really the second that we put it out there, people are already looking for it, so there hasn't been a problem of connecting. What really we're into right now is we're in the middle of closing our first contract, and we need funds for the legal fees to finish all that up, and then also to hire someone for operations to help us as well.
Okay, great.
So one of the things I observe with successful companies that we invest in is a laser-like focus. And the companies that seem to really accelerate and grow fastest are the ones that focus very much on one thing. And when I listened to your presentation, I noticed that you're looking to be an e-commerce company and a consulting company. And so if you were to choose, A, I'd like to know, do you think that both of them are essential for your business? And B, if not, which one would you focus on?
Primarily the focus will be consulting. The commerce part kind of runs itself because all the brand owners have their own brand. Really, it takes about 30 minutes a week to send out packing slips, and that's it. And so the consulting is really what we need to laser focus on, and it also is something that's extremely scalable because every single program is individual to that company. So we can have consultants all over international that can hold these programs and create these programs for companies. That's really what we're focusing on.
Okay. And what type of you both work full-time elsewhere?
Yes.
Yeah, so what type of revenue will you need to be able to work full-time on this?
Well, my ultimate goal is for someone to buy the company and give me a 6-figure salary to be the CEO. So we will be able to bring this pretty full-time. Full-time is interesting because it's kind of a pre-production, and then the way that most companies want it, it'll be like an 8 to 10 week half day per week situation. So full time, we would get paid weekly. The second we have a contract, we're good for like the next few months, and it just kind of keeps going.
Okay, and now the nasty investor question. If I was to invest $25,000 in your company, how would I make a return on my investment?
That's a fantastic question. Are you offering? And it's because both the brand and the consulting are so scalable with really, I could step out of the picture. I think you could see a return on your investment very, very quickly and easily.
How?
Oh, okay, so we have about 30-40% markup on the brand's products, and we also have about a 30-40% profit on all the consulting contracts.
Okay, thank you.
Is that good?
Sure. I was thinking along the lines of the consulting piece, and you talked about the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, as a supplier diversity professional, how would I market or advocate for you to get a contract at my organization?
Wow, I love that question. Well, as someone who works with supplier diversity at Viacom, for example, we can easily, if it's unscripted, we can come in and sort of guide your team into how to cast or produce shows that are very, very inclusive. Also, I think there are print campaigns which we can help you cast, produce, etc. We do live events, and like Jordy was mentioning, if you're looking to incorporate a non-binary character into a scripted show, we can come in and help you with that. And a part of our consulting is it isn't just, here's the checklist of the 4 people to involve to make it more inclusive. We focus on how to make the campaign inclusive at the same time as making the company culture inclusive in their minds as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we have about 15 seconds. What about this business keeps you up at night?
That people haven't copied me yet. I'm just like, all you got to do is copy me, and then everyone will have inclusive campaigns. It seems so easy. So that's the thing that really keeps me up at night is the lack of representation when it's so, so simple.
Thank you, Redimo. Okay, judges, the decision's in your hands. Please head backstage to deliberate. Can we please give a big round of applause for all of today's contestants? These companies have left it all on the stage. And now it's time for you all to help out. Get out your app. Click the LGBT Biz Pitch icon and vote. We're going to take a minute here in just a moment and welcome some of our mentors. As I mentioned early on, each of these organizations have been working with corporate mentors to get ready for today's pitch. We want to give a big thank you to Clint Grimes with Warner Media, the mentor for LUMENOMICS. Come on up, Clint. Welcome Robbie Shapira from Wells Fargo, our mentor for Redimo. Welcome. Growing Greener Innovations, Bruce Mayberry from San Diego Gas and Electric. Hey Bruce, welcome. And last but certainly not least, for Brand Pride, JP Keating with Allstate. Welcome. All right. So mentors, what'd you think?
They rocked it.
They rocked it.
Didn't they?
Clint, let's start with you. What was the big key that you wanted to get across? What did you want to drill into your company's head to make sure they didn't forget to make that known up here on the stage?
It was interesting for LUMENOMICS. First of all, what they had put together was really thorough, like really thoughtful. They had a really great sort of opening about who they were. So of course I'm advocating for them, who they were, but also kind of, what it was that they were bringing to the table and the notion of innovation. I know we talked about innovation as, innovation is not a thing is kind of a journey in my head, and she really talked about what it was that they were bringing to the table that was unique and different, scalable and solution-oriented and all of those things. So I was quite proud of that. Yeah, so most of what she had done was really driven by her, and I just sort of helped to sort of nip and tuck a little bit.
Great. Let's go on down. Same question.
Yeah, so my favorite thing about Dan Owens, Redeemo, and Jordy is their teachers. And so I learned so much in every mentoring session. In 5 minutes, I hope that you have a better concept of gender fluidity. I certainly do. And my favorite thing about it, what they were talking about, is it's so much less about the apparel, which is what I came into this mentorship thinking. It's so much more about the representation of people. And so what I loved about their pitch is not only did they represent themselves and their brand, but they also helped in an LGBTQ so broad community where we are so different, person to person, community to community. We're all learning and teaching every day, and I definitely learned a ton. Yeah.
Great.
I would like to give compliments to all of the presenters. They did an excellent job of looking comfortable upstage. And Connie did an excellent job of that as well. I'm in the energy business, and my advice to Connie was to make her presentation presentable to the average person. It was a very technical presentation in the energy business, which is very serious, but she did an excellent job of bringing that down so the average person could understand the business model.
I understood it, and that's saying something for someone who's technologically challenged from time to time. JP.
2 words, Trojan unicorn.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to use that. That was it. So, for the most part, I tell a lot of founders and people that do pitches, just be yourself. This is hard. I mean, it's blinding up here. Let your personality come through, because that's what people are investing in, is you and your team.
Anyone can answer this question, but there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. There are a lot of people that applied to compete in this contest. Tomorrow, these businesses are going to be meeting with many of you and your colleagues for matchmakers. They've got their pitch. What's some advice you would give them? They're not up here on the stage, but what's some of the things that they should take to those meetings tomorrow? Not all of them got a mentor before they get to that meeting this year.
No, I'll start. I always go back to just start with building a relationship. That's where it all begins. Start a conversation. Don't try and sell the first one. Just get to know the person you're talking to. And that's usually what leads you to success in the future. It's a long-term process, so be prepared for that.
Yeah, and I hope as entrepreneurs, all of you in the audience, I hope you're thinking about, why you started this business. It's so important that we see that in your message. And what are you great at? What are some of the pieces that you source out because those aren't the parts of your business that you love? And how can you focus on the needs that we have? It was a great point that, understanding what we're looking for, asking those questions up front, and then just having a really honest conversation. I think one of the best things about this conference is that you'll get a chance to have a frank conversation that says, is what I'm offering something you're looking for now? Or is it something for the future, or is it something never? And it allows you to invest your time wisely, and you should have so many of those conversations, and you'll learn as much from the one that didn't go as well, because maybe that company doesn't need that today, and then you will find the ones that really could use your services. It is an incredible opportunity to connect, so don't be afraid to do it.
I want to echo a point that you made there is, one of the things I've said in many of the settings like this that I've been in before, it's really around, know who you're talking to, like know my business, and not just sort of, intimate detail, but know my pain points. There are things that are going on in all of our businesses where we could use help. Every company out there could use help. And you want to make sure that the conversation that you have with me or any of us or anyone you're going to see while you're here, that those really sort of speak to the fact that I understand what Warner Media does. I understand Warner Media's business. I understand this weird convergence that we're having now with AT&T and what all that looks like and what the challenges and opportunities are brought out because of that. And so I think it's important for there to be a context, an understanding, and a solution focus to that conversation. I think those are the conversations that I think end well.
Anything else on that point?
Just to echo, do your homework. The worst thing you can say to me is sit down, what do you do? Yeah. I work for San Diego Gas and Electric. You should have an idea of what I do when you come talk to me. That'd be very helpful.
You know, we get a lot of important feedback from our corporate partners at the end of the day of matchmakers. And I think one of the most important pieces, and we stress it with our suppliers and a part of the onboarding process, the last thing you want to do is sit down and say, what can I do for you? You should know what you can do for me by the time we sit down. And, you know, if I don't buy Trojan unicorns, then don't sell me Trojan unicorns, you know, move on to the next company, I think, as you all said. So, you know, as you look at tomorrow's matchmaker opportunities, you don't have to go in with the perfect pitch. I think we mentioned it in the opening session, the opening part of the session. The people in this room are here to help you. They genuinely care about you. And someone that might be your competitor on maybe every other day of the year, you can find a way to work together here. You know, is there a strategic partnership? Meet your other suppliers. Can you work together to respond to a larger RFP? Perfect your pitch. That's what we're here to do, is to help you do that. And ask the questions that you want to ask. Don't ever get up and leave feeling that you left something on the table, because you may or may not ever get that chance again. And I guess maybe with that as the backdrop, what would be your final words of advice to the pitches that you just saw, but also to all of the business owners out in the audience?
You know, I would say that take advantage of this. You know, there are corporations, there are idea, you know, generators that are here in the room that you have this opportunity to interface with and have conversations with. Take advantage of that. I mean, that doesn't happen all the time, and that is unique out there. And so, you know, sort of seize the day kind of a thing, and have those conversations. And we're all here to be supportive, and we're all here to help. So take advantage of that.
I'd say continuous improvement. As great as the pitches were today, there's something each one of them can learn and improve on to go forward. So always try to improve your presentation and get better.
Yeah, and I would add that, you know, we're not in this alone. One of my favorite things to say to business owners that I mentor is it takes a village to run a business, just like it takes a village to build a family, and in many other cases. And one of the first people in your village should be a mentor. And if you don't have one, here is the place to find your mentor, because this is our village of LGBT-owned business, and we're all here for that reason. And it's why at Wells Fargo we built the Chamber of Leaders Development Program with the NGLCC and the other diverse chambers. It's this commitment we have to helping each other succeed.
It's simple. If you believe in it, don't give up. It's a long road. Keep at it. Seriously, that's it.
Thank you, everyone. Our mentors, please give them a big round. Thank you. So Robbie made a good point about the village, and I had mentioned early on and had our chamber affiliates from across the country and now 15 countries around the world stand up and be recognized. And I invited a few of our leaders from our chamber affiliates to sit with us this morning. They were instrumental in some of the education that Robbie talked about as part of the CLA. So if we can bring the lights up a little bit, I want to recognize Tony Vetta and Louise Chernin. Thank you for your work with the Chamber Leadership Alliance. So this afternoon, you're going to go from here. There's a first bank of sessions, and then we'll be back in this room for some exciting conversations. We'll have our first Power the Network vignette, which will answer the question about the chocolate on the tables. That is a gift from 5 North Chocolates, a certified LGBT supplier in partnership with our friends at Southern California Edison. And you're going to hear about this story about how this has happened, how they actually connected through a supplier superstar event that happened at Viacom. That's incredibly exciting. We're going to induct our first group of suppliers each year. We bring our suppliers that have been certified since last year's conference. We get them up on stage, we cheer them on, and you all get to see them so that you know them for the rest of conference. And then we're going to sit down and have a conversation with someone that I find incredibly fascinating. Tampa's newly elected LGBT mayor, Jane Castor. She will be with us, which is incredibly exciting. And then there'll be a couple more banks of sessions. We have our opening night reception tonight. There are several carousel receptions happening before that. And then we'll get up tomorrow morning, do it all again. Tomorrow after the opening session will be matchmakers and expo. And I do just want to make sure that all of you received your lunch ticket at the check-in for tomorrow. Here's a great example of feedback that we do take it, we do appreciate it, and there were challenges for folks getting to and from matchmakers and to and from the sit-down plenary on Thursday. We still want to feed you because we don't want you falling down at your booth, but you can now do that on your time at any establishment within the convention center. And I would just note that tonight's reception is actually in the Marriott. It's not here at the convention center. And then tomorrow night, we're going to have a great time with the awesome and incomparable Deborah Cox for the Thursday night party, and that will happen here at the Convention Center. And then for those of you that are with us on Friday, you are our guests for our closing champagne awards brunch, in which we're going to recognize some amazing and outstanding leaders and organizations. So without further ado, can I have the judges up here? Contestants up here. I think we took it out of everybody. Come on up.
We all had to go to the bathroom.
You're back. That's what's important. Okay. One more round of applause for our amazing contestants. And our excellent judges. Thank you for your work. Final thoughts before you announce your winner. Anything that you talked about in the back that you wanted to make sure that you asked or that you got across that perhaps you didn't in your original timing or segments with each of the winners?
So this was incredibly difficult. In fact, I think it's probably the most difficult year that we've had to judge. You all have really remarkable businesses. They're unique in their own way. I think one of the things that we really struggled with is looking at a company. It's not only the product line. Are you in product, or are you in more like a consulting engagement? Do you have corporate viability? What are your current sales? What is your trajectory? Do you need our $25,000? Because we think, in fact, that maybe a couple of you do not need our $25,000. You know, there may be other opportunities with other investors. So it was really, really tough. We don't have a lot of time to deliberate, but looking at it from a couple of different angles, we did come up with a winner. And I think David may have some feedback, and then we'll let Rose take it.
And I do want to be sure before we announce the winner that we take a look at the audience winner. So let's take a look at that right now. So at the very least, you'll be at the NGLCC National Dinner in November. I said at the very least, you'll be at the NGLCC National Dinner in November. We'll see what's on the other side of this check. I haven't even looked yet. But I would say each and every one of you are winners no matter what, because our friends at BMS are sending all of you to the Tuck School Executive Education Program. And our amazing partners at American Airlines are getting you there safe and on time. So thank you to both of you for making that happen. David?
So part of our deliberation from me was, as an investor, to know if I was to invest $25,000 in this company, which one am I not only likely to get a really awesome return of my investment, on my investment, but am I going to get a return of my investment? And so thinking about this from an investor perspective, I'm always thinking from the risk, am I going to get my money back and get a profit, or am I just going to potentially lose all my money, which happens a lot in my business, and then get a huge return, hopefully? So that was also one of the things that we were really considering in the decision that we made.
And we'll tell you the winner right after this announcement. And the winner is
Drum roll, come on people, let's get some excitement going. $25,000 cash, $25,000 in prizes. Thanks to Dell. Thanks to Chatterblast.
And the winner is LUMENOMICS.
Woo!